I'm telling you all, everything is moving except the price. So, I mean, obviously, it's really, really rough, and we have to kind of figure out exactly why that is and when that might change. But that's really what I want to talk about mainly today with regards to ICP. So everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about ICP, as I mentioned and kind of opened the video with. Everything is moving except probably the most important thing, which is price. So we're going to be going and getting into that a little bit today. As we can see, though, looking at crypto bubbles, kind of everything in the market is down. We can see, a lot of red bubbles everywhere. Kind of the Solana system taking the biggest hits of everything. We can see Solana down just 7.5% on the day. Radium, Jupiter, JTO. We had a couple others in here. Render is another one. I think Helium was down as well. Like there's a lot of things within the Solana ecosystem that have really been kind of taking some hits recently. If we do look at the week, we can see something very similar. Solana down 18% just this week. So definitely a little bit of some rough times. Even Ondo here, that's another Solana project. Some definitely rough times for the Solana ecosystem. We'll have to figure out kind of what's going on there, right? I mean, I think it's possible that maybe we have seen the top of Solana. To me, the Trump coin was kind of a top check a little bit for Solana, but overall, unless we start to see the crypto market desync a little bit, I don't really think this is the top for just crypto generally. I still think we've got some further room to run, but again, who knows? Maybe this time is a little bit different in the sense that we start to see some of these cycles desync from each other a little bit, and they move a little bit more independently of what we've kind of seen historically, which is everything starts with Bitcoin, then moves to ETH, down, all the way down, things like that. Maybe this is not the case anymore, right? I mean, it would make sense. I mean, we've kind of seen the price appreciation of Solana, and then we saw kind of the projects on Solana do well, and then we saw NFTs take off. Then we've been seeing meme coins do crazy things for the past several months, probably even close to a year at this point. So, I mean, it's kind of, if you look at Solana in a vacuum, it's kind of seen that. And so anyway, obviously this is not a Solana video, but what we can see kind of in the larger market is things moving pretty badly, primarily all of the Solana stuff. As we said, ICP down only 8%. If we do look at the fear and greed index, though, the market's still in neutral. Again, this is, in my opinion, heavily weighted towards Bitcoin overall. So we are seeing a little bit of that coming in today here as well. We can see volume and liquidations coming up a little bit on the 24-hour time period. So more liquidity coming into the market, though things are still down and looking relatively bad. And if we look at Bitcoin dominance, things still coming to the upside here. Now, this is important because if we look at the ICP chart, again, of course, taking a little bit to get to ICP here, but what we can see is the ICP chart is looking rough, right? I mean, we're basically sitting on support levels that are kind of where we were sitting at well before this November pump. So basically everything we did see in November, we've basically given back. We are kind of down here at lows, potentially looking at pushing even lower lows here, which is, frankly, I mean, it's a little bit surprising. I mean, if we look at the fundamental data of what's actually going on with ICP, all the various things that are happening, like it seems to be growing. It seems to be making sense. Everything is moving, like I said, except price. So, we'll have to kind of check that out and see how that goes. Things definitely looking rough here. We can see RSI not quite oversold, but definitely looking towards the more oversold perspective. Volume down a little bit, and then we are kind of pushing towards the bottom of the Bollinger Bands here. I don't know what to tell you guys. Things do look good from a fundamental perspective, but from a technical perspective, things do not look good at all, right? And so obviously we need to figure out, what exactly is going on here, when this may potentially change. It's really hard to say, obviously, altcoins, as we kind of went through, and that's why it took us a second to kind of get into talking about ICP specifically, is because we can see that altcoins just generally are really getting hammered in comparison to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's holding up relatively well. We've kind of seen it consolidate up kind of near all-time highs, pulling back anywhere between like 10 to 15% roughly, but it's consolidating near all-time highs, which I think is pretty good to see overall. The altcoins, however, not at all holding up as well. Even Solana, that one had kind of held up better than most of the other alts in the market, now kind of disproportionately moving to the downside. So everything kind of getting hurt overall in the alt market. We'll have to see, do we see another alt season come? Is alt season canceled? Did it happen? And this was kind of the alt season that we saw, and we're kind of now moving back down from there. Really hard to say. It's hard to say for sure if this was the alt season. Very underwhelming, I would say, kind of in all aspects of it. We even saw kind of a nice little move up back in like January to March of last year. Again, also underwhelming if that was the alt season. So it's really hard to say for sure exactly what lies ahead. I still think that we have the possibility and the potential to see an altcoin season coming, particularly with ICP. I mean, there's so much really strong, good information coming out of like the ICP camp, as well as just fundamental kind of developments within the crypto ecosystem. All of this kind of pointing to success for ICP. So, we'll have to kind of keep moving through and see how this happens. If you are looking to DCA in on some more ICP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything like that, kind of getting in while we're seeing a little bit of this dip going on, kind of everything down in the market today, feel free to use my link in the description below to BTCC, 10% bonus on first-time deposits, as well as extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user. So definitely a really good deal there if you are interested in finding a new place to trade. Also, no VPN or KYC necessary if that is something that is valuable to you. So anyway, moving on, I had a couple of different things that I want to kind of take a look at in the ICP ecosystem today. Here we can see that we have a tweet here from Fabio, Zero to Hero. I'm sure many of you, if you're watching this video, many of you are familiar with him in some degree. We can see that there is some ICP kind of pulling off of exchanges here. It kind of peaked over about 50 million back in like kind of the beginning of, what is this, like, I guess end of January, we should say. It's kind of actually been a steady uptrend ever since like the beginning or middle of like July is what it looks like. It's been kind of a steady uptrend. We're starting to see this pull down a little bit. And there's about 44 million ICP on exchanges. So a decent chunk. We'll have to see exactly, what happens here. It looks like we could potentially be seeing some accumulation. We'll have to see how this kind of goes in the future. But definitely seeing such a massive movement like this is pretty impressive. I mean, this is almost 5 million ICP that have been pulled off exchanges in the matter of about 2 to 3 weeks. So definitely a good move there. Also, I did want to tell you guys about my friend Invest with Doc. He actually did just recently do an ICP video. And so, I'm successfully, hopefully, kind of converting some more of these influencers over to ICP and showing them some of the prospects and the value and a lot of that type of stuff that we are seeing from ICP. Doc is a really, really good source of information. If you are interested in kind of hearing what his thoughts are on ICP and all that type of stuff, I definitely recommend check out his channel. I will leave a link to his description in my video if I can remember to do that. But definitely go check him out at Invest with Doc. Definitely, a really, he's got some really great takes just on the crypto space overall. But I know a lot of you guys are always looking for new, good, and fresh ICP content. So giving him some support there, I think, would be really, really cool. So like I said, go check it out if you are interested. Moving on, though, I have a couple other things on the X account or on my X account that I want to talk to you guys about. We're seeing here, this is a little bit of a FUD post. Totally okay. I'm all good with people having bearish takes on the market. I think it's healthy to kind of have multiple different perspectives and, take the things that you appreciate and, kind of leave the ones that you don't. And that's totally fine. But what we can see here is, he's basically making the claim that there's not going to be an alt season. And a lot of the claims that he makes, I think, are somewhat reasonable. And so we're going to go through some of them here. We can see Solana without meme coins is heading to zero. Solana showing a lot of weakness, right? We have seen this movie before, though, so I just want to make that clear that just because Solana has been showing weakness recently doesn't mean that it's going to zero, right? I mean, it could be. It's hard to say for sure, but I do wonder about Solana a lot, particularly recently. Ethereum pumped in 2021 thanks to NFT mania. That hype is dead. There's no more demand for ETH, and with that, the price is not going anywhere. Again, fairly fair point. I don't have much to counter on that one. Also, we can see that, XRP is massively overpriced. 100% agree. I've been complaining about this for quite a while. They tried to manipulate it yet again after Trump's election, but let's be honest, it's clear the token is useless. Again, have a hard time disagreeing here. I always ask XRP fans what they see in terms of the value of XRP here. And no one can really explain to me what it is, because usually they say, oh, well, it's cross-border payments. Okay, yeah, but what about stablecoins, right? And then, usually that's where the conversation kind of ends. So if there are any XRP maxis watching, please leave it in the comment section below. Leave any comments that you guys have in the comment section below. But I would love to hear, if there is any sort of reasoning. So far, I haven't found that. And then also we can see, even solid projects with good tech and ideas like Chainlink and Ondo, they're being exposed. People are realizing that the tokens for these projects are worthless. They exist only to make the foundations richer. Hard to say, I'm not sure how kind of based in reality this is, or is this just kind of some FUD here. Chainlink, I think, is really good, and Ondo is as well, but that's been part of my issue with RWAs just generally is they don't really have a whole lot of I think they're going to be severely gatekept by institutions because they've got no real reason to bring us retail in on it. There's no reason for them to do that. So, I do think there's a lot of credence being lent to both Chainlink and Ondo with that type of thing. There's only one project in this space with real utility, and that is ICP. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. That's why we're making an ICP video right now and talking about it. You can see, whether you build websites or dApps on the internet computer, you need ICP. Everything built on it requires ICP. You burn ICP to keep your dApps or website running. That's what real utility looks like. ICP community, share this post as loud as you can. The world will finally understand what true utility means. I think this is very fair. I think this is a strong post. And honestly, that's a lot of what I've been trying to do when I'm assessing, kind of investments that I want to make is why is there a reason to own it other than, oh, well, other people might think the coin might go up higher than what you think it can. So then they're going to buy it. Yeah, that's great and all, but there's no real reason to own it other than pure speculation, right? With ICP, it's very, very clear why you need to own it and why people would find it valuable, particularly if the ecosystem kind of continues to show more and more development and activity and a lot of that type of stuff. So I think utility is really what people kind of like to ignore, but is going to become more and more valuable as the market matures. So this is something that I definitely, kind of agree with a lot. And a lot of the points in here are very, very well made. And so I obviously, we went over it in the channel. I have liked and reposted it as well. So if this is something you want to kind of take a closer look at or whatever, read the comments, stuff like that, you can find it on my X channel. Again, X descriptions in the link if you are interested. Again, we just kind of went over it. So it shouldn't be too much extra to do there. But then also we can see here on X, another one, we can see this is, again, I think people always get surprised when we see things like this. We can see AmSpeed posted kind of some breaking information with here that the Internet Computer Protocol is processing over 285 million transactions per day. This is more than all the blockchains combined, which is true. Also, did you know you don't need a wallet to interact with dApps built on ICP because of the reverse gas model? Right there, boom. Jason's got it. Big props to Jason here. But this is awesome, right? I mean, this is exactly, I think, what crypto should be. Think about, I actually saw this meme several months back. I wish I could find it, but it was somebody playing a video game, and every single time, basically every frame, their wallet would come up to sign the transaction every time they were playing this crypto game. And obviously that's a little bit over exaggerated, but that's kind of how it is, right? So, that's what I do think is super funny is it doesn't make sense. This reverse gas model is how the internet works. I think it's how crypto probably should work. People shouldn't be paying to kind of make their own transactions on chain. The companies or the dApps should be doing that and then monetizing their project accordingly. It's just right now that none of that's really happening, and it's super janky. Again, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of fugazi magic internet stuff going on here, and so I think over the next probably 3, 4, 5 years, particularly now that institutions are getting involved, there's really going to be a very strong push to see what are the models that truly actually work, and then really kind of leveraging those to make sure that the people are actually kind of doing what they're supposed to be and having profitable companies, because ultimately that's what matters, right? What makes things valuable? Crypto is no different than anything else in the real world, and that is people need value in the sense that they put money in and then they get more money out than what they had in the first place. If there's no mechanism to do that, then something truly doesn't have value, right? Now there's various different mechanisms. I'm not saying everything needs to cash flow, but there's very different, varying, I guess I should say, different methods for how to do this. I mean, Bitcoin's a store of value. You're going to put money in. The money that you put in effectively is going to kind of inflate against the asset that you purchased, which again makes it more valuable. Not by the fact of it actually became more valuable over time. It's realistically the currency that you moved out of became less valuable over time. But again, still doesn't matter. It's how all things work in life. And then also you do have some of those other models of, cash flow and, deflationary tokenomics. Again, I don't like deflationary tokenomics because it incentivizes people to not use it. That's why most governments kind of lean towards inflation, because it incentivizes people to spend their money and keep it moving through the ecosystem. So anyway, moving back here though, I did just want to take a super quick look here at this daily transactions picture, because we can see Internet Computer on February 15th, so this was last Friday, did 285.6 million transactions. Solana did 56.8 million, and then there's just a massive drop off here to Near, which did 6, and then Sui did 3, Polygon did 3, Aptos, and anyway, you guys get it. All the way down, and we can see Ethereum here did 1.2 million. So what this is showing here is that ICP did 238x or something like that what Ethereum did, and then did about 5x what Solana did. So really, really impressive numbers here. This is something that almost nobody really sees or really wants to acknowledge, which for obvious reasons. I mean, there's a lot of people who hold very large bags of these various projects that are getting completely gapped by ICP. So I guess that's a little bit of a harsh reality to admit, which is why a lot of people aren't doing it. But anyway, just something that I wanted to point out there. I do think fundamentally everything is looking strong for ICP in my opinion. As I mentioned kind of when I started out the video, there's only one thing that isn't, and it's price. I don't know what to tell you guys. I wish price was moving just as much as you guys do, I'm sure. I wish that we weren't sitting back at lows that we saw prior to November. I wish a whole bunch of things. But ultimately, we can't decide, or, I guess we can decide on the price a little bit by buying. But ultimately, there needs to be kind of that market adoption. There needs to be that real world utility. And we just haven't seen that yet. And that's not to say that we won't. There's a lot of things that I do think are happening. I mean, we can see that the transactions per second, the developer interest, a lot of that type of stuff is actually coming onto ICP, and this could lend to some really strong value and use cases coming over time. I think the chain key cryptography and all that type of stuff, that's all catching on. All of this stuff is really good. We saw the partnership with hbar. We've seen the possible partnership, I guess I should say, with Cardano, because Cardano is obviously looking to get building on Bitcoin as well. So there's a lot of various things happening that I think are really fundamentally bullish for ICP. It just hasn't come and reflected in price yet. And I don't think that's the end of the world. We just need to be patient, as frustrating as it might be. So anyway, that's what I want to talk about today. Hopefully you did find the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and a subscribe, because it really, really does help me out. Also, if you have any comments, questions, thoughts, feelings, concerns, whatever, just drop those in the comment section below. And I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.